everyone. Yeah, it's right there. Thank you. Thank you very much. So, between cocktails and now you have me. I'll try to give you a pitch that's a bit more different from the rest of the day. I want to talk actual use cases, not so much technology. Clavister, who is Clavister? Clavister is a security solution provider. We are from the north, from the Pole Circle, as you see in our office there. We have been around for over 20 years. We're one of the industry's best kept secrets. We sell mostly in Europe and also quite a bit through OEM. We are king of virtualized firewalls. We have done that for many years, and quite a few mobile operators are using our technology to protect their core. What you didn't know about us maybe is that in the UTM market, we were actually the fastest growing in the industry last year. So what I want to talk about is use cases. And the way I look upon use cases is what the customer gets out of the services, out of the products that are being provided. And I like to categorize them in 3 different categories. With regards to security, it's about connectivity, providing secure connectivity to get your offices connected or get your remote users connected or get your services connected in some good and easy way. The second is about protection. It's about protection of data, protection of users, protection of data centers, protection of services. And the third one is about prevention. And this is about helping users to not make mistakes, do things proactively in order to protect the users from wrongdoing. And these use cases, all the companies need these use cases, and they need to work in harmony over and over again, and they need to be orchestrated and automated together into a package that really helps you to deliver business continuity. So a little bit more detail, what kind of use cases am I talking about then? Well, I'm talking about plain VPN technology, I'm talking about routing, load balancing, I'm talking about segmentation, I'm talking about firewalling, I'm talking about BGP for redundant internet connections, I'm talking about encrypted traffic inspection, but also things like application visibility and control, web content filtering. A lot of different use cases that customers can relate to and want to pursue in order to protect their businesses and their assets. And of course, many of these use cases have traditionally all been installed on a firewall. The telco's delivery towards companies and end users, for that matter, has really been quite flawed. If you take a pure cable internet connection from any operator around the world and you plug in a Windows laptop to it, it basically stops working in 15 minutes, right? So it's not a service that's actually anything to be proud of. What you need is a firewall in order to make it work. And the responsibility has worked like this, that the telco delivers the router or the DSL or something that terminates the layer 2 connectivity, and then it's a firewall that's put in place by the IT administrators. And then behind that, you have leased lines or other type of MPLS technology or something to secure inter-office connectivity, right? That might be the way. And over time, that has, of course, evolved to more of a VPN type of situation where they use the same firewalls to just connect their offices over the internet, right? This is nothing new. This is what enterprises have been doing out of necessity for many, many years. And the split of division of use cases is quite interesting here, because we're looking at the telco side, managed by the telco is, they do the router or the DSL CPE, and then they basically take care of layer 2 connectivity and maybe some routing, load balancing, but that's where it stops, right? There's not much more use cases that are being delivered. But on the other hand, you have the next generation firewall, which has a tremendous amount of use cases, including VPN and firewalling and protection and preventative use cases as well. But these use cases are not managed by the telco at all, but maybe they should. And if they are, then they are managed on a firewall that's delivered by the telco, and that can definitely be an option, right? But it's this separation that we all talk about here that's changing now. The use cases are actually moving around. And that's not strange, because when you have all these use cases in one box, you have quite a vendor lock-in situation. It's very, very hard to improve just one of the use cases to be better. It becomes inflexible also to actually scale this. If you use one use case very much, it might use too much resources on the unit, you cannot scale it up. So there's a desire to move this out, to get individual components for individual use cases and put them together into a package, which all of you call the universal CPE here, right? So the trend is first to take out VPN infrastructure, a little bit more VPN plus application control and routing. That together, it's SD-WAN, right? And SD-WAN has been placed on a universal CPE, and this is actually managed by the operator. So now the operator is taking a bigger charge in what they, what sort of responsibility they take. But you still need that firewall, right? Because SD-WAN does not add security to your network. It's just secure connectivity between your offices. But if you want to get out, you still need protection. So the firewall is still needed. So it's not a complete service still. And the use case division looks like this: that okay, an SD-WAN universal CPE, I should say there, it's really, okay, it's taking care of the connectivity, it's taking care of the routing, it can do multiple links, it can do MPLS at the same time as Ethernet or something else. You can have VPN as well to connect to the cloud, and you can have application visibility control to reroute your different traffic over different links, and you can do traffic optimization to maybe control bandwidth usage depending on the app as well. But you need the other use cases still, right? You need firewalling, you need network attack protection, DDoS protection, IDS, you need antivirus scanning, you need botnet blocking to help users to take control of malicious links, and you need web content filtering as well. So that's why we see now a bigger trend that the firewalls are being moved into the UCP as well. And that can be ours. We have excellent partners that use our firewall inside UCPs, but many other firewall vendors are doing the same. All CPE vendors are adding security bit by bit in one or another way. And it makes sense, right? Because that's the complete package. It's all the use cases that we used to have in the next generation firewall, but in a new type of box. But now it's actually controlled by the telco as a full managed packaged service, which is good for the enterprises if it helps them sort of offload their IT and be more secure about what security they have, right? So a universal CPE looks a bit like this, and then you can, if you have one universal CPE with several VNFs, you can actually package use cases and switch them out with different type of suppliers or vendors, so you can create the best of breed package and switch it out over time. It can also be dependent on different industries. You might want to use a different flavor of different type of use cases. So in this example, I'm using 4 different VNFs by 4 different vendors that provide different solutions within the universal CPE. And that's great, right? Because then over time, you might even be able to expand this. You can say, okay, just perimeter protection is not enough. You need to add SSL inspection to tackle your encrypted threats, and you need to add identity awareness in order to make sure that users that use your network are actually authenticated and you know who they are with a certain degree of certainty. So you can add more and more VNFs to this universal CPE that are specific to that customer in order to increase the security footprint. And that's great. The problem is that, to run all these different services side by side on one box, there's going to be an issue with cost. You're going to need a bigger and bigger universal CPE with bigger and bigger processors. And certainly there are people in the world that like that, but it's going to be a difficult business case to maintain. And there's a lot of innovation being done to try to tackle that, right? Intel is coming up with new processor models that are twice as effective for the same price, etc. And there are very disruptive players like ARM that are coming with a total new approach and a cost footprint for their processor that's 1/10 for half the price of what x86 processors cost. So these are opportunities. You can get a cheaper CPE with different type of technologies in them, and make them affordable. But the question remains, right? If you want to put more and more in it with a lower footprint and put it together, is it going to fit? Is the capacity of the lower priced box going to work for all the use cases that you want to supply. And is it going to help you grow over time when you add more use cases? Probably not, right? So I think a total different approach is needed. You need that universal CPE. You need to have core use cases run on the CPE, but you need to also look outside in the telco's network in order to support that individual CPE with all the services that it needs to provide. Use the cloud. Use the cloud data center, the telco data center that the telcos have, and add the edge data centers that are now being built up, right? The cloud used to be far, far away, but it's moving closer to the edge, to the base stations or to central nodes, or it's basically the central office reinvented. And the local exchange is reinvented into small data centers. But if you can dynamically control the VNFs that are running there, you can create a CPE that's actually not in one location, but it's actually like a Barbara Papa figure over the network. Some pieces in the cloud and some pieces on the CPE. So the way I envision that is it's a bit like this, right? One customer has 2 sites. You have a universal CPE down there that's running, bare minimum amount of use cases. It's just VPN and just getting IP connectivity. That's it. Then it connects to the cloud, and it uses all the security services it needs there. And then you have a head office system that has a larger CPE that has a little bit more use cases. And this is how you can agilely move the VNFs around to support this customer. But you don't need to look at the universal CPE as one box. You need to see it as a part of a larger footprint. And of course, this is the step one that can be done very much today. But over time, many of the use cases require lower latency, lower response times, and therefore the opportunity with the edge clouds that are emerging now to make them a part of this ecosystem and move some of the use cases to the edge, some of them in the CPE, and some of them in data center clouds further away. That together is an elastic, secure SD-WAN solution. So, in summary, the industry needs to wake up and provide a more complete offering towards end users. Just a normal internet cable is not a very useful product. You need to include security in your offering from the start. And I'm very happy to hear many of the operators here say that security needs to be thought of from the start now. It cannot be an afterthought again. Agility and flexibility are really key drivers for operators to find these layered approaches and to get universal CPEs with VNFs that they can swap out and switch out. And that's a good thing. It drives innovation, and it will provide the best use cases, the best technology for the best use cases that the customers actually benefit from. But cost will be an issue. The CPE cannot spiral out of control. We have lots of innovation ongoing to keep that cost down, and that's great, but it won't be in balance with the need. So therefore, the cloud and edge, spreading the workload will be needed. And that's what I call elastic, secure SD-WAN. So with that, I don't want to keep everybody away from cocktails. I have a couple of more minutes left. If you have some questions, you're happy to take them now. Tomorrow, we'll, together with our partner Telco Systems, be in the Content Hub at like 3 o'clock, 3:50 or something like that. And we'll dive into these topics a little bit more. So if you'd like to see more demos from Telco Systems' provisioning system and how our solution works on ARM technology, then come and meet us there. Otherwise, thank you.